Hey guys, welcome to Quarter Twins podcast. Quarter Twins Weekly Reviews is what we're calling it now. Quarter Twins Weekly Review. The only podcast with one question. I mess it up every time.
Well,
the podcast with only one question.
Yes.
Watch anything good lately? You may notice I'm at an angle now.
So am I.
The angle has changed. The vibe's off.
And my mic is at an angle as well.
Wow.
Crazy,
Your mic is at an angle? Mine's straight up. Actually, no, it's not. Regardless, we're here to do episode 51 of our podcast.
Ooh.
In 1 week, we will have done a year's worth of episodes. Only a month and a half late.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. We love our listeners, don't we, Jordan?
We absolutely do. They are the best.
We do.
Yeah,
They are the best listeners. The engagement, the love, the likes, the comments.
Yes.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Okay.
So much to keep up with these days.
Yeah. Wow. It's tough, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, though, I did get a text from a coworker.
Oh, nice.
About my recent episode. And it was like, you would only know. It was like, I think she said, good intro. Or like,
Nice.
Good new music intro.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, because I wanted that to be our new intro. And you said, okay. And then
Yeah.
you did it. And that was that.
I did it. Yeah.
Hype, exciting, new, fresh.
I thought
love.
it worked pretty well overall.
Yeah. I thought it was great. So that's what we're doing now. You heard it.
Yep.
And that's great.
That's a Wyvern-inspired musical theme.
Yes. Star Wars Wyvern.
A show
We're going to
that
be talking
exists.
about Star Wars
We are.
today.
Yeah.
But before we talk about Star Wars, I got to mention the list of things in our bulleted list,
Yes.
such as time codes, because we use those now.
We do.
It's a big draw.
But we do.
It's a big draw for our moms who don't want to listen to long podcasts.
Yes.
We just tell them, hey, you can click on the button and just listen to the parts you want to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of reading the title and seeing, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Haven't seen that movie. Not going to watch the entire episode. But we talk about other stuff.
We
or
do.
like the Super Mario episode. We talk about the Super Mario movie for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's still an hour-long podcast.
Yeah.
So,
We find things to talk
there's
about.
plenty of other good stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
This week, however, I have almost nothing extra to talk about.
Same. And that's
So,
great.
Do you have anything you want to talk about?
I mean, big life update for those who don't know. We have a puppy now. Sam.
We do?
Sam is graduating college tomorrow, and I had been scheming. I'd been scheming to get her the puppy that she so desires as a graduation gift. I didn't just bring a puppy home one day, but I surprised her with a bunch of supplies, a dog bed, a dog toys, all the stuff. As if to say, we can get a dog now, and you can pick them out because it's your dog.
Nice.
So we went to all the shelters and met like a bunch of dogs, and then we found Bingo, and she was the perfectest girl. So she's 6 months old, and she is.
And you're going to send me a picture
life.
so I can put a picture of Bingo on there?
You're seeing a picture right now.
Cute little Bingo. Actually, I already have 2 pictures of Bingo on my cellular device.
I have better pictures, I bet.
Okay, I bet you do, because one
Sam,
of them is from far away, and the other one looks like she only has 2 back legs.
Yeah. Well, Sam, as you know, is a photographer, and she had a whole photo shoot today, so we have some
With the cone of shame?
Yeah. Well, actually, they took the cone off. Bingo got it off somehow, and she thought, well, might as well have some photos of you without your cone.
Those dogs always know how to do something you didn't think possible.
She does. She's in her kennel right now because if she wasn't, she would probably be chewing everything she's not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm doing this, and I have her on a little camera, and she hears me say her name, and she's very upset about it. So I'm going to stop saying her name.
She already knows her name?
Kind of, yeah. Only when it benefits her.
I see.
You know,
That makes sense.
yeah, not when I need her to do something, but she responds very well to training, but not so much her name in that scenario. She responds well to treats, meaty little treats.
That's well,
so
that'll do it
as
right
we
there.
all do.
From what I've heard, dogs like treats.
They do.
Squirrels
So
and
that's
balls.
yeah. I'm gonna say this now. Even if you're on Spotify, you can see the video because we're putting it on Spotify again. Because we only weren't doing that because of our ad spot. We don't have that anymore, so we can just do the videos, and we don't have any ads. So heck yeah,
Yes,
let's go. So if you're
That's
on
great.
Spotify, you can see the picture of Bingo. Here it is, bang.
bang again.
Yeah, a
Second
different one
time.
maybe.
Let's hope I remember.
Here's a picture of Goose. Ah.
And here's a picture of Goose. You're gonna need to send me a picture of Goose.
Yeah, I will.
Don't you have another cat?
And here's a picture of Olive. The alpha
Olive,
of the
that's right.
house. She's been
Alpha.
asserting her dominance quite well.
Oh no.
Not in a bad way, just like
Oh, okay.
letting everybody know that I am the most important person.
I'm the top cat.
I am the most interesting and important animal in this house,
Yes.
and that's true.
Pretty.
So that's, and I've also I have watched something. If you're in the if you're interested in Fast and the Furious, there's a Fast and the Furious movie coming out soon. It might even be out. I don't know. Called Fast X.
Is it the 10th one?
It's the 10th one. The funny thing about that is we're at the 10th movie, and Fast X is going to be a 3-part finale. So you're going to have Fast 10 Part 1, Fast 10 Part 2, and Fast 10 Part 3.
Of course. The trilogy.
Yes. That came out today. Vin Diesel was like, it was originally... the studio asked if we could make it a 2-parter finale for Fast X, but after they saw the first one, it was so freaking good that they asked if it could be a trilogy. And the lady was like, "Wait, are you saying it's going to be a trilogy?" And he was like, "I can't confirm nor deny." It's so bonkers. But anyway, I'm a fan of the Fast and Furious movies, with the caveat being that they all range from bad to a little bit worse. In the film, I don't know. It's all subjective. But I do
What
like
genre of movie are these movies?
That's a great question.
Are they racing movies? Are they family dramas? Are they action adventures? Are they heist movies?
Such an amazing question, Joshua. I'm glad you asked. Because each movie, well, not each movie, but this franchise has shifted dramatically from its origin. The first 3 movies are pretty much exclusively racing movies. And look at these girls' butts movies.
Nice.
Which, that's in all of them for sure. But the first 3 are definitely your racing movies. And then 4, one of the characters used to be a cop or something. And in the 4th one, they all blend together, so it's hard to know.
Where's Tokyo Drift?
Tokyo Drift is the 3rd movie in release order. Technically, I think it's the 6th movie in chronological order or something like that.
Wow, I didn't know they were.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It is. The lore is expansive, and it definitely. Which the movie that I watched is Fast 5, which is
Fast 5.
broadly known to be the good one. It's not my favorite one, but it is where the shift.
Is this the Jason Statham one?
No, not yet. Fast 5 is the official shift in. It's the first heist movie, so they're in in Brazil, and that's a reference from the movie. If you've seen it, the people who know, Vin Diesel says, "This is Brazil." It's such a good scene.
Amazing.
Fast 5 has the introduction of The Rock's character, Hobbs.
Hobbs.
And
I heard that he will be reprising his role
yeah, he is.
in Fast 10.
Probably because every movie he's been in has bombed in the past couple of years, so he needs a big franchise. After there's a whole like real life lore with Vin Diesel and The Rock. They had a whole beef,
Right.
And they are like the epitome of like Hollywood ego, and so
Right.
there's great YouTube videos about how in the Fast and Furious movies, like, you know, these actors, they each have their agents and whatever, and they all have, like, you sign on to do a movie and there's contracts and all of these contractual things that, like,
Right.
you have to abide by. And this isn't just Fast and the Furious. It's like a lot of times actors will be like, my character, like in the contract, my character will not like be killed or like turned into a villain or like use an iPhone or something like that. There's all of this sort of thing. But very famously,
Of course.
the Fast and the Furious movies, once they get to a certain point of like ego-driven nonsense, Vin Diesel and The Rock in their contracts specify that like within, like when Vin Diesel and The Rock have an altercation and they're fist fighting, they have this like algorithm to determine like you can only hit each other in the like each punch is like a number of points, each kick is a number of points, each like body slam through a wall is a number of points, and if that fight choreography, if those points don't add up equally, you can't use that scene. You have to make sure the stunts are choreographed so that each actor is getting hit the same amount of times, giving hits the same amount of times. And
that's fun for the coordinators.
Right. And so what that does is no fight is ever really resolved, because eventually once the points equal out, they just kind of stare at each other and leave. There's no like end to the fights or something.
I'll see you next time.
Yeah, something like that. Fast 5 though, I watched, and it's supposed to be the good one. It is pretty good. It's not my favorite one. They're in Brazil. They gotta take all the. There's a mob boss that runs Brazil or something with drugs or something, and they have to steal his money or something. You know, that's
very descriptive.
Yeah, it's just a fun. It's a fun time. I'm gonna watch. I don't know. Number 9 is so bad, and that's so bad. They introduced John Cena's character, and it's really terrible.
And isn't Jason Momoa going to be in the next one?
He is, yeah. But 5, 6, and 7 are all really good, I think, in my in my evaluation of the thing. 8 is pretty good
opinion.
Too. My opinion, yes. That's what that's called. 8 gets the third act of number 8 gets really wild, which they all get really wild. And then Fast 9 is just on another level. And yeah, you track the name of these movies. Like the first one is Fast and the Furious. The second one is The Fast and the Furious.
Right.
3 is Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. 4 is no. The second one is Fast and Furious 2, and then 4 is back to The Fast and the Furious. And then it's Fast 5 with a big F, and it's just a big F, and then Ast and Ive stacked on top of each other.
I see.
Yeah, it's
Ast
great.
Ive.
Yeah, and then it's Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7. The Fate of the Furious is the 8th one, because fate sounds like 8, I guess. And then it's just F9. And
F9? And like on my keyboard?
There's a spin-off movie called Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. No, Fast and Furious, The Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw, which that's a
Shaw
crazy movie.
Is
it's pretty good.
Jason Statham.
Yes. And then now we're all the way up to Fast X Part 1.
Wow.
It's so fun.
This is such a fascinating aspect of you that I did not know. I have never engaged with any of these movies at all.
Have you watched
And I never knew that you have seen all of them.
They're just a lot of fun to watch. They're just in the like outlandish blockbuster cars that go fast and everything. It's all about family, the meme. And we all drink Corona, the meme. And all that sort of thing. Did you watch the Cosmonaut has a great video about these movies. You should definitely watch.
It's possible that I watched it, but
you should watch that again if you want to get inspired. Because that's what inspired me to watch them in the first place was his video. So shout out Cosmonaut Marcus, Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
Yes.
That's as much as I have ever wanted to talk about those movies on this podcast.
Well, goodness, I don't know. I'll have to watch them, and maybe I can do
I would love that if you watch them.
we can do a ranking or something.
The first few are really hard to get through, honestly.
Brutal. I thought Tokyo Drift was good. Bing, 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 bing.
I don't mind Tokyo Drift. Yeah.
Okay.
The first two are.
Which one is the one with the Charlie Puth song?
That is gonna be 7 because that is the last one. That's the one that Paul Walker died in the middle of making, I believe.
Right.
So they made that one. Statham 6, number 6. The villain is Luke Evans, I believe is the actor's name. And Statham's Luke Evans. And then Statham's character is his brother, so he comes in the 7th one.
Shaw.
And then he's around for the 8th one. Then The Rock and Vin Diesel had their beef, and The Rock was like, I'm never working with you again. And so they did their spin-off movie because he had a contracted movie to do with Statham. So they did that. And then Dwayne Johnson lost his mind and tried to take over DC. And his movie crashed and plummeted to the ground. So now
where are you at with Black Adam now?
I still think it's a fun time because it's just fascinating to me. And there's enough cool factor from the Justice Society characters that it keeps me interested. But I'm not going to rewatch it that often.
Okay.
I'm glad that it bombed.
And And after he ruined Shazam 2.
Well, yeah, I think they just really fumbled all of that. And it's a weird time for DC stuff with the James Gunn's.
So we'll watch Flash, and then we'll just be like, get rid of that. Let's do James Gunn stuff now.
Yeah, great director, that guy.
I agree.
He made some good movies that one time.
Transish.
Yes.
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1 just to confirm
sure.
A couple of things.
Yeah.
And check for plot holes and all that.
They were confirmed.
I watched it, and also there was a TikTok that explained something to me. Time code guy, quick little spoiler section for Guardians 3. We're going to just...
Yep.
I know everyone who's watching this episode has already seen that one and seen the movie, but just for anybody that's crazy who hasn't seen this one, just quick. There's a TikTok I saw, and it was about how at the end of the movie, closer to the end of the movie, Groot says, I love you guys.
Yes.
And when I watched it in the movie, I was honestly like, what? That was stupid.
Yeah.
Why did he just speak normal? I didn't like it.
Like he learned English? Yeah, I had the same thought. And then I saw the same thing you did.
Yeah, so I saw this TikTok that explained, and it's, this is true. James Gunn confirmed this. So it's real, that this isn't him speaking English. It's us, the audience, finally understanding Groot, because we're part of the family now.
Yeah, because that's set up in the movie with Gamora's character.
Right.
Because she doesn't understand him, and she's the new Gamora, so she doesn't understand him yet. And she's like, what are you guys talking about? He's just saying, I am Groot.
Right.
He's not saying anything. But at the end, he says, I am Groot to her, and she responds to it. She's like, oh, I just understood you, or whatever.
Right.
So it makes sense narratively.
That when I read that and I understood it, I cried. Right there, staring at my phone. I cried and cried for 5 minutes. I was just like, this is so beautiful and amazing, and I love it so much, and James Gunn is so perfect, and Groot is so cute and amazing and perfect. And I just cried and cried.
After thinking about it more, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy as a whole really, really just stands undefeated. Like it's
amazing.
So you really like Thanos is in the first one, but
Yeah.
he plays his role like you don't need to know who that is ahead of time.
Right.
He
He's
has
just the
a
guy who
defined
gave
role. And he's the father of the two of the supporting characters. One of the main characters, Gamora, and then Nebula as well, and hired out Ronan. So you it really just stands on its own.
You do kind of need to see Infinity War and Endgame.
Kinda.
But only just because they messed with Gamora and Quill.
Yeah. But even all of that is explained within the third one, so I feel like you would be fine. Because they say it a few times where they explain when they're in the elevator with that person. They're like, this is what happened. My girlfriend jumped off a cliff and now this one's back. So that's weird. Yeah.
And it's true.
It is.
And there's some continuity that the Russo brothers also broke in their movies.
I've been enjoying the fall of the Russo brothers, to be totally honest.
Really?
I'm enjoying their fall to the depths.
You were just a DC shill over here. You're just obsessed.
I mean, they're. I think that the most relevant criticism of them is just that they are really good at doing one thing and just kind of being really good at being hired hands to just make a product happen, you know? Mm-hmm. Because everything they make outside of the Marvel stuff, at least after Marvel stuff, like the Chris Hemsworth is John Wick movie, those are just like, the action is okay, but like, they're not.
What movie is that? Extraction?
Extraction, yeah. Then they made that movie.
That movie was all right.
Tom Holland, that I didn't see, but anyway.
Venom.
They made the Gray Man.
Uncharted.
The Gray Man happened. And that was okay, but
they didn't make Bullet Train, did they?
No, thank goodness.
Good. Okay.
I think they might have.
That's a good movie.
Produced it or something. I don't know if that's or if you just triggered that in my head and made me think that, but they produced something recently that was good. Anyway. Yeah.
So I watched Guardians 1.
Yep.
With my parental units. And I'm watching it, and Groot gives the little flower to the girl at nowhere, and I cry. And he like throws his hand up, and all the little glowing petals of biotic energy whatever come out of his arm and fill up the dark aster, and I cry. And then he builds the shelter for them as they're falling down to the planet's surface, and I cry again. And I'm looking at my parents like, how are you not, like, what's the disconnect here that you guys are not feeling this emotional bomb going off right now?
They're just stone-faced. Don't care.
Everything Rocket says, it's like, imagine with me, Jordan, if you will. Imagine a moment, anything remotely close to this happening in Rise of Skywalker. And then going back and watching Force Awakens or Last Jedi and just being like, wow, they knew what they were doing the whole time.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Not a chance in 1,100,000 years. When JJ was making Rise of Skywalker, did he think at all about the previous movies? He was just like,
well, they thought about the Last Jedi. They thought
everybody hated Last Jedi. Let's just undo all that.
How can we undo?
And then we're not gonna.
They did in that one.
Instead
those
of
movies are so
building,
just like disconnected and just all over the place.
It's so sad.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so tremendously destroys me.
Yeah. I think
I almost watched Rise of Skywalker the other day, and then I said, I don't want to watch it. And that was that.
Speaking of Star Wars, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about a video game that you that we both
started playing? So last week I mentioned that I was probably going to buy Jedi Survivor. I was worried at release when it came out because I heard a lot of people say that their PCs couldn't handle the game at all.
Right.
People,
I got my GeForce RTX 4090 Titan ready to go. I got my AMD Ryzen 5600 ready to go.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I can't run the game at 4K 120 FPS.
Broken
on my
game.
6 monitors.
Yeah. And all these crazy, high viewership, stream for a living streamers that have 2 computers so that one computer can run the game on its own and not have to even record it or anything and strain on anything else. They can't run the game. So clearly the game is broken, doesn't work for anybody. How are you supposed to run it on a console? How are you supposed to run it on, a last-gen console?
Yep.
Right? Blah, 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 blah. I don't even think it came out on PS4, Xbox One.
It did not. Otherwise, I would have it.
Uh-huh. And so they release a couple patches, and they said we're ever presently working on fixing this game, fixing these bugs, working on all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And one of the streamers that I watched, he played through the whole game already, which is wild. I don't know.
How do you do
it's
that?
like a 70-hour game.
How do you do that?
They do it for a living,
I've been playing Batman Arkham Knight for 3 years. Because I play it for 30 minutes.
God of War?
I play 30 minutes of Arkham Knight every 3 weeks.
Wow. That is a gamer right there.
Yeah, dude.
And he said, honestly, the performance got a little bit better as it went on. A couple of the patches feel like they actually started to work. I couldn't get it above 60 frames per second, blah, blah, blah. But the game, everybody who can play the game, even at sort of medium settings, whatever, blah, 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 they're the game itself is really, really good.
Banging.
So just if you can even get some sort of semblance of consistent performance, you should get the game and just suffer through the 30 frames per second or the 20 frames per second, just so you can enjoy the game itself, because it's really good.
Yes.
So I think, okay, I have a decent computer. Actually, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I when I bought this game, I was like, my PC's just gonna be able to do it. Some part of me was like, I'm special. I mean, it's gonna work.
And clearly, you knew what you were doing.
And so I buy the game and I launch it up, and we had planned to record both of our commentaries. So he was gonna watch me on Discord. So I'm going to record the game. I'm going to run the game, record the game, and I'm going to stream it to Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Woo! I'm going to stream it halfway across the country, and that's going to be almost live with, there's maybe a second delay at most.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's
at 720p, 30 frames per second. Okay? I'm playing the game, recording the game, and streaming it live.
Yes.
All at the same time on one computer. Okay? I am getting on high settings 60 frames, 1440p on my computer.
Yes, sir.
I don't have ray tracing on because I know if I turn that on, my computer will explode. But aside from ray tracing, it is running
flawless.
Just fine.
Yeah.
We have had only one hiccup, and it was because I didn't press the right button in the tutorial.
We were like, it's clearly the game's broken. Better restart the entire thing.
We restarted and ran through 20-minute tutorial and got to that point again, and it froze again. And I was like, we got this hard lockout. I'm never going to get past this. I'm going to return the game. And then I read the prompt. It said, hold RB and press X or something. And I thought, I'm not pressing X. Let's try that. And I try it, and he just goes, use the force or something.
Immediate success, yeah.
And it just worked. And I was like, oh, okay.
And the only other hiccup we had was you just not being able to beat the Rancor. So that that was the only other difficult part.
It took me in total an hour and a half.
Dang, dude. And you weren't even on. You were on the second. You were still on the second lowest difficulty setting.
Middle difficulty.
Middle?
There was like 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jedi Knight.
Holy cow.
And I didn't turn the difficulty up or down.
Difficult enough for you.
Yeah. It was, when I killed it, it said Legendary Beast defeated.
Wow.
So,
did you
and
like
I got
skip
a special
ahead to that
perk.
before, like normally you would, if you were like following the story or whatever? Would you not have gone there? I forget why you ended up there.
I didn't have to go into that. It was like
Yeah.
we kind of met this open area.
Yeah.
And I was just running around killing every enemy I saw. And then there was like nothing left. There was nothing left except for the story and this cave. So I said, got to go to the cave.
I guess so.
Because I must, And so we're traversing this cave, and we found a respawn point inside the cave. And I'll be honest, it didn't scare me like it will in the future. Because then I jumped off that little hill and found the Rancor.
Yep.
And fought it for like an hour and a half.
Yep.
And there was one rage quit, but there was no desk banging, which I was pretty proud of.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes I'll bang my desk.
If I wasn't with you,
If Jordan wasn't there to help contain my rage, I definitely would have been more forthcoming with my anger.
yeah.
And then it was like, I don't know. It was a couple hours later I tried again, and it took me like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that
happens.
Also,
a lot. I feel like
you'll have to watch it, but when you finish it off, it plays like a little cinematic of you taking it down, sort of like God of War does a couple times. Yeah. And he had like 20% of his health left, so. You know how many times I was probably like this close to killing him, and then he just uses like this one-shot move where he eats you?
Unblockable move, yeah.
It made me more mad when I killed him because I noticed how much health he had left.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a frustrating moment for me.
But we
made it through.
It's working great.
I'm going to play more today.
Nice.
If that's cool with you. I don't know where you stand on that.
We'll see. But I gotta have puppy time, so
yeah, puppy, chow. Okay,
and
take us into it. We have a main topic we're supposed to get to.
We do, yeah.
It's already been 30 minutes, so let's jump right in.
We're good on time. If this is a short episode, I feel like that's okay. Star Wars Day was May the 4th. And wouldn't you know it, some content dropped. Season 2 of Star Wars Visions came out.
What?
If you don't know what Star Wars Visions is, they had one season.
You're probably lame.
Last year? Or the year
2021.
before? 2021 already. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They released
September.
Star Wars Visions Season 1, which was all, correct me if I'm wrong, all Japan-based animation studios.
Japanese-based, yes.
Japanese-based.
I am almost certain that they were all Japanese.
All Japanese based.
Yes.
Anime. Colloquially.
Nice.
That's a good word.
Correct.
That's a really good season. I can't think of any of them that okay, that's not true.
I was just going to correct you there as well.
I don't like the one where they're like a heavy metal band or something.
Yeah.
I don't like that one.
Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett appear.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
In this episode.
But other than that, pretty much straight bangers, I think. The first one is super cool. It sticks out in my memory. Samurai thing happens. Anyway, it's all anime in the first season. This season, they chose to go a different route. By having studios from all across the globe, and all animating in different styles. There are 9 episodes in each season, 9 episodes here. Some big, well, at least the one that I know, a big name, Aardman Studio. Most people will know from Wallace and Gromit or Chicken Run, which is better in my opinion. An absolute classic.
And I saw Aardman. Didn't they tweet a picture of an egg recently.
I don't know.
I don't know where I heard that. It might have been TikTok. I'm kind of okay with a Chicken Run sequel.
Oh, yes.
Potential,
I would be
maybe?
so down for that.
I would be, as much as I hate to say we all, everything is sequels and remakes and blah, blah, blah. I don't think this one
If they're
going to
make
idea.
any sequel, it's going to be Chicken Run 2.
Chicken Run!
We love
Or Chicken
Run.
Little.
Chicken Little is so good. Let's get a sequel for that
Yes.
movie everybody hates except for us.
What is up with that?
I don't know.
The movie's not bad.
I grew up thinking it was literally the best movie ever. I watched it so many times at Grandma and Papa's
know.
house. And
Yes.
apparently I grew up and I figured out people hate that movie for some weird reason.
Yeah, sort of like the prequels.
Yeah.
But now I agree with that take.
That movie's just it is strange when you like look at it in like the context of the time period it came out with all the other Disney movies. It was in that weird era where they like were doing kind of random stuff after the Renaissance. Anyway, we're talking about Star Wars Visions.
Oh, that's right.
Season
Okay.
2. So you want to just talk about each episode?
Yes. We can do them in order.
Online, we'll just give a brief synopsis and our thoughts.
Okay.
Number 1 is a
Away.
is a short called Sith, and from my memory, which I will say,
It's powerful.
I watched all of these and I paid attention to all of these, but the story is sometimes a little bit sparse, and I don't know if I remember everything about all of them. So,
All right.
anyway, so
See if I can fill in the gaps.
so we have
Good luck saying that.
the first episode is called Sith. It was made by the studios Hail from Spain. Apparently, I don't want to try to.
The name is in.
Oh, the name
is in parentheses.
I see. That sounded. It says
The studio.
It has studio in the.
Sorry. Here.
Oh,
Let me get rid of that.
The studios hail from
Yes.
these places.
There you go.
I was like,
the studio is not called the studios hail from.
I see now.
So it's going to give you the country
I
that
see.
they come from,
That
and
was
then in
confusing.
parentheses is the name of that studio.
Let's cut this
They're
out.
in order. No, this is staying in. This is great.
And it's worse because I don't know how to say this. But it's from Spain. The studio hails from Spain.
Yes.
El Guiri or something.
El Guiri.
Guiri.
It's Spanish. It's from Spain. They got
Spanish.
a little bit different pronunciations
Who knows?
over there. Anyway,
The animation
What happened in this episode?
looks great. Probably I don't know if I want to say my favorite, but one of the top my favorite animation styles in the thing. Aesthetic is she's this.
you know what it
I don't know,
reminds me
man.
of? Here, let me try.
Yeah. You try.
You
Go ahead.
It reminds me of the episode of What If when Doctor Strange is like toying with the dark dimension or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of flashing and 3D with 2D going on. Maybe like Arcane a little.
Yeah.
Sort of that
Spider-Verse
style.
a little bit.
Yeah, sort of blending the 3D with the 2D.
Yep.
And it's very art heavy.
It is.
Actually, yeah, I would say Into the Spider-Verse is a closer approximation.
Sure.
Not as many art forms collaging into one another as Into the Spider-Verse, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this episode, we follow a character.
Yep.
I don't remember any of the names of any of the characters.
Nope. And we will not look them up.
And we probably won't. Yep, nope. And so this former Sith, is living on a deserted-ish planet with a droid, and she is painting her struggles, it seems.
Yes.
She's struggling with painting her struggles.
Yes.
She's uninspired. She's lacking that final piece that she needs to finish her piece. And lo and behold, a Sith Lord enters her domain along with his minions, and enters her dominion with his minions.
Yes.
If you will.
He's like, you should have been a Sith. This is what you left for. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And then they fight, and she wins,
Yeah.
and she's like, I am not a Sith. And she has this double-bladed, curved blade lightsaber, which is dope.
The light and
And-
the dark exist within me equally. And the light is within me as well. That's why my paint looks like this.
Yeah.
My
So at the
force
end of
paint.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's got
Remember?
advanced force paint.
Yeah, she's got nice force paint.
And she uses her force paint at the end, accepting her gray force abilities
The
to
duality.
finish.
The duality
yes.
of the dichotomy.
Oh, wow. Powerful stuff. And
Yeah.
she finishes her painting. It's good. Trust.
Right.
It's a good episode.
This is indicative. Another
Ooh.
of the show quotation as a whole. Each episode is its own thing, and some of them have more story than others. Some of them are just straight vibes, and a Sith shows up and does a thing, and it looks cool, and that's pretty much all it is, and that's great, you know?
Yeah.
And that's good. I liked it.
I like how you started with indicative, and then we ended with it's great and it's good.
Yeah, that happens a lot. I'm just
Yeah,
you know what? It's just good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much else?
At the end of the day, everything's a 7 or an 8
it looks good
out of 10.
and it vibes. So
It looks good in the vibes.
the droid
Okay, let's
is
talk
cute.
about Creatures Reach,
Creatures Reach.
made by Irish studio Cartoon Saloon.
The studio hails from Ireland.
Nice. That is so true. This episode follows Daal, Daal.
Good.
Bam! I knew a character's name and its spelling.
Because it's the best one, baby. I don't know.
We'll see.
It was good,
We'll
though.
It was really, surprisingly, really good. I saw the thumbnail, and it took me, I watched the first one, and then I saw the thumbnail for the second one, and I said, maybe later.
It looked a bit PBS Kids animation.
It seemed very
at face value, but it turned out to be the spookiest Star Wars thing I've ever seen. So, and that's not saying a lot,
bad.
but whatever.
Yeah. So we follow Daal and their friends, and they go out to Screecher's Reach because they're sick and tired of their boring lives, of their living in the hole, basically.
Yes.
And which there is another hole that people live in. We'll get to that later.
Potentially. Yes.
And so they go out to Screecher's Reach. It's a big cave, and they tell ghost stories. And then they go into the hole, and they walk
Isn't
in
that
there.
cave haunted?
Yeah,
There's a
it's
ghost in
sort
there.
of a shrieking shack, if you will.
Whoa.
Thank you.
I don't know what that
And,
reference is for, but
Shrieking Shack.
What is that?
You know what that is from?
What is that from?
It's from Harry Potter.
I don't know what that
What?
is. I don't know what that is, bro.
The Shrieking Shack is where
Is that in one of the bad
Professor
ones?
Lupin,
Who's that? I don't know.
Prisoner of Azkaban. What's happening right now?
I've seen that movie. I've seen it.
Professor R.J. Lupin, the werewolf.
Yeah. Is that the werewolf? Yeah, the guy, the mustache.
No,
Oh, okay.
no mustache.
He has
Okay. Forget about it. Forget it. We're gonna.
Okay, cool.
I can't do this. So they go into the cave, and they're like, it's spooky. And then they hear the ghost screeching, and they're like, it's like, wow! Right? And then
Just like that.
the cave starts rumbling, and the rocks are falling, and it's dangerous, like you're gonna die. And so they all run away, and Daal says, I need to stay.
Let me cook.
This coin has been telling me to be strong.
Yeah.
And then she stays in the cave that's crumbling apart, which I gotta say, that's a dang bad idea. uh, and so she stays in there, and then there's like a hole in the ceiling.
Well, yeah,
and
she's
light
confronted
shines
by the
in.
ghost, and she goes, bah! And
Yeah.
and she's scared by the ghost, and she sees some light peeking through the ceiling. She's like, well, I guess I could climb up there to get away. So she starts climbing up there, and the ghost is like, "Rah!" And
A lot of times.
a lot of times, yeah. And then she pulls out a red lightsaber. What?
And they use Kylo Ren sound effects.
Yep. While she's screaming, and then something happens. Doll uses the Force to force a big rock down and crushes the ghost or whatever, and then turns out, I'm just an old lady. I'm just a really
Just
old
an
lady.
living in this cave.
She's still screaming, though.
Just screaming.
And then Doll freaking point blank executes her
Yeah.
with her own
She's just like,
lightsaber. It's like
this like
damn.
5-year-old.
Yeah. And then she gets
Like,
out.
okay.
She regroups with her friends, but there's a big spaceship coming through the light, and there's this weird alien-looking lady who is like, well done, my child. You've passed the test to become a Jedi or something. I don't know. And her friends are like, what, you're leaving? What the heck? And she's like, yeah, sorry. Screw you guys.
My bad.
My bad. Yeah. And then I want more. I wanted another episode of that. And I obviously won't get it ever.
Mm-hmm. Never.
But thought it was conceptually very interesting, intriguing. Probably, yeah, lacking on the animation style side of things as far as, I probably won't rewatch it just because of that. But it was a fun. Yeah. I liked that it leaned into a little bit of a horror thing. I thought, horror Star Wars. That's an interesting thing we haven't really had.
Right.
Except in the
it's
best movie of all time, The Rise of Skywalker, where Rey walks into the Death Star and there's an evil Rey and she has fangs and she's like, bah! That's pretty spooky.
pretty.
Do you even remember that?
Pretty spooky.
He's not even doing the podcast right now.
Sorry, I was
doing something
counting.
else.
I was counting.
He's completely doing something else right now.
Try again.
You
One more
remember
time.
that movie called Rise of Skywalker where Rey walks into the Death Star and there's an evil Rey with fangs and she goes, bah! She has a double-bladed lightsaber.
I remember thinking. I remember that part because I thought to myself when I saw it in the trailer or something.
Yeah.
I was like, "That's cool. I hope she turns to the dark side." And then Ben switches to the light side, and we get like a interesting character moment. But that didn't happen.
It's strange that it's okay to like take a mass murdering psychopathic villain and turn him into the hero of your story, but you're like, no, we can't even consider making Rey turn to the dark side. It's just like, wouldn't that be
it's probably
interesting?
in her contract, cannot turn evil.
Probably. Circling back. What did you think of the third episode? The one that we didn't watch together.
Stars.
I mean, we didn't watch any of the first two together, but
we only watched 2 together. I thought it was pretty good.
I'm trying to even remember what it is.
This is the first claymation one with the 2 sisters.
Oh yes, from
and
Chile.
they're like
punk robot.
This is punk robot. This is so there's 2 sisters, and they appear to be the last of their species living on this planet. And the Empire has taken over their planet and is sucking the life out of the planets.
They're stealing the water.
And turning it into
goo.
I don't know what they need the water for.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. It's more symbolic.
Also there's, sure. And there is also some sort of magical connection that the planet has to the light of the stars in the galaxy, which is interesting.
The culture of this civilization seemed to be, you get a fair amount of backstory from the sister. She's telling the backstory with a like what would you call that? Not hieroglyphic, but
Paint.
it looks like the cave drawings from Ice Age. You know what I mean? They do that thing where they show Manny's backstory with the cave drawings.
That's
very
exactly
similar.
what just happened. Yes.
Yeah.
Or like the Croods.
The Croods as well. Yes, the great movie starring Nicolas Cage. Anyway,
I like the Croods.
the first one I've seen and is good. I haven't seen the second one though. I haven't seen Croods 2. The guy from the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent trailer who says that thing. That's a good reference.
Pedro Pascal?
Nope.
Nope. I gotta watch that movie, dude. I think that movie looks like so much fun.
And what was I saying? I was talking about the cave drawings.
Yeah.
They
give backstory.
Their culture, the spirituality is like when you die, you turn into a star, essentially. So they have some sort of spiritual connection to the stars. And you see that when the Empire came to their planet, these two sisters, their mom, who was force sensitive in some capacity, kind of led the charge, a rebellion, as you would say, against the Empire. They freaking killed her with a AT. What are those called? Walker. I'm losing my Star Wars credibility. ATST. And
who created? Quick trivia. Who created Star Wars?
That would be Georgathan Lucas.
That is correct.
It's a good bit.
All right, continue.
And they say everybody on the planet, the civilization was killed except for these two sisters, and they're just kind of surviving. And the younger one is like, I want to use the Force and get these guys out of here. And the older sister's like, no, we just need to keep our heads down and survive. But they're running out of clean water, so they got to go back to the Imperial station to get some clean water. And hijinks ensue. And there's an evil officer that comes up and is like, kill them.
We killed them all.
Yeah. Throw them into the goo. Kill them. And then the Force happens, and the older sister uses the Force, and that's pretty cool. And then they use the Force to destroy the Imperial thing, and it all explodes, and they're like, wow. Amazing. Yeah, go ahead.
When they destroy the Imperial station,
Yes.
Get this, they pour the remaining clean water from the planet directly into the poisonous gook.
Yeah.
That they cannot use to survive. Now, I don't know where you stand on water, but it seems like maybe the stupidest thing.
If you pour water into oil, you can't drink that water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was
parts
definitely
per million.
Yeah,
it's not good.
that was definitely
So-
a factor for sure. They kind of doomed
just thought
themselves to death.
I was like, you're taking everybody out with you.
Other than that, like thinking back on it, the animation really was good for me in that one. I really liked it. Good vibes. I liked the
Claymation,
characters. Sibling story was good, if not predictable, I suppose. But I like that. I think that one. I think these things these things are at their best when they can just exist within their own little episode, which I don't think you can really say about like Screecher's Reach, for example. It ends with more questions than answers and not a really good resolution. If I'm making sense.
Yeah.
So I like when they are contained within their own thing, if that's what they're deciding to do, you know.
Right.
If they wanted to, what I think they should have done is they should have just like, they do Star Wars Visions, and it's like the pilots, and then like whichever ones
9 pilots.
Yeah, you know, and then like the 1 or 2 that like really kick off and people love. They do like, I don't know, a 3-episode thing, and flesh out the story a bit.
Or at least 6.
Or at least 6 episodes.
So that we can complain about it being 6 episodes.
Yeah. But let's talk about the Aardman episode, number 4.
Yes, so Aardman, the makers of Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run.
The best movie of all time.
The number 1.
We gotta move this along a little bit.
What are you talking about?
I gotta.
I'm having so much fun right now. This is the best episode we've ever.
I mean, you keep looking over to the side, and
I'm just. I I'm worried about the order of this list I gave you because it seems like it's not in order, but maybe it is.
I think it is.
And
Yeah.
I'm just confused. I'm nervous about the last two. But now when I think about it,
I see what you mean.
But I think it's actually correct.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna roll with it anyway. So Aardman comes out and they're like, we're gonna make a Star Wars. And so they decide to do a race.
Yeah, they do. A pod race of some kind.
A family race. And so there's like this Rebel Academy led by Wedge Antilles. And
I'm Wedge Antilles.
Yeah. I think it's really funny that he's like, it's like after the war or something, and he's really trying to remain in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So he's just like, I'm Wedge.
I was in that movie too.
I was the guy who was next to the guy who destroyed the Death Star.
Yeah.
So that's where he's at.
Yep.
And he's doing this. He's leading this Rebel Academy for ace pilots. And so there's like there's a Twi'lek and her ma, and they live in a toilet or something. And
sure. This is the one I honestly remember the least about because unfortunately this is my least favorite, I think.
I do personally I don't agree. Second
That's
least
okay.
favorite.
That's okay.
You
don't have to agree with my opinion.
Well, I don't. Okay, so just back up.
It'd be nice every now and then. Anyway, continue. They live in a toilet,
okay, so,
and they're like,
Yeah, so they're like not very well off. And she's going to this school, and there's like a rich preppy kid, and she's like, haha, you live in a toilet. Your mom is so embarrassing. And she's like, actually, you're right. I agree. My mom is so embarrassing.
My mom sucks, man.
And she's just like cares about me and loves me more than your mom does.
It's the worst.
And it's so embarrassing. I can't believe it. And so the Twi'lek decides not to participate in the race because her mom is so embarrassing. And then her mom forgets to give her lunch before she leaves, so she parks her ship on the racetrack.
Yeah. So embarrassing.
And simultaneously drops all of her clothes, including the first piece that we see, which is a bra. So that's where she's at, which if that was me, I would be embarrassed.
It's very embarrassing.
Personally. I was like, wow, Mom, you are literally the physical embodiment of every nightmare that I'm having about you right now. And so she's like, Mom, you're embarrassing. And she's like, oh my gosh, you really feel like that? And she's like, low key, like, yes, actually. And so then they're like, well, that kid's mean. We're going to race anyway.
Win the race.
And so they race, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The preppy kid and her mom straight up murder a couple families on this race.
Yeah.
We don't see the explosions, but they definitely were veered off track and hit like a building or something.
Right.
Because this race is with a bunch of amateurs in the
dead.
middle of this heavily populated city, and they are plummeting downward.
Yep.
Like, murder.
They're dead.
So, yeah.
So dead.
And so the race happens, and the mother and daughter learn that it's okay to like each other anyway. And love is stronger or something, right? And they win the race, of course, and the preppy people don't even make it to the finish line. They get as close as they literally possibly can, and then they don't finish.
A classic.
And they're like, wah.
A classic Phantom Menace pod racing epic scene.
Yeah. And that's all I have to say about that one.
I'll just say, if you want to see a feature-length version of this story that's better, just watch Turning Red, that Pixar movie. It's
okay.
It's good for sure. I talked about it a
what
little
about
bit in my
Turbo?
I couldn't tell you.
That's the snail racing movie.
Have you seen
Ryan
Turning
Reynolds.
Red?
Nope.
The one where this girl is having her period, but she turns into a red panda. It's a whole thing about puberty
metaphor?
and mom being embarrassing. Her mom this middle school girl. She's at school, and her mom knows that she had her first period, which isn't really her first period, but because she turns into a giant red panda. But
Yeah, I get you.
she is actually having her first period, and her mom comes to her school and is like, I brought you menstrual pads. And she's like,
Nice.
Mom, that's embarrassing. I'm dying inside. And then they were like, I'm a red panda too, but my red panda's mean because I'm your mom, and that's embarrassing. But at the end, they're like, what if we just hug? Anyway, it's actually a really good movie, really fun animation, and written and directed by a female Asian filmmaker, and it's her life story. Other than the fact that she didn't turn into a red panda,
What?
It's pretty good.
That'd be a cool life story.
It would be.
I turned into a panda.
Episode 5 was pretty good, or episode 6 was pretty good. Which one is this?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
It's 5. It's from somewhere. Where's it from?
South Korea.
South Korea.
Studio Mir made this one. So it's not an anime. I don't know what the South Korean, if it's, I don't know.
They call it a cartoon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode is called Journey to the Dark Head.
Mm-hmm.
And in this episode, we have, honestly, this episode is hype for me. I really, really thought this is like, and I'm going to say this right now, season 1 I prefer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Overall.
Especially, yeah.
I
know you
and this
love
one
that.
was more reminiscent of season 1. Not like, oh, these other studios are bad at animation. It's as simple as the aesthetic of Star Wars has almost no bounds. And so when these guys are able to emulate Star Wars accurately while also expanding, it's called world building.
Ah, yes.
And I'm a big fan of world building. You know this. Everyone knows this. And so this episode gave me some interesting insight to a planet I'd never seen before, and its connection to the Force and these characters and more Jedi and the morality of the light and the dark and blah, 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 blah. And it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, it was great.
One of my favorite episodes.
I agree.
So, yeah. Tell me about it. What happened?
I loved the... it opens with a little girl. She's a child, and they're like... I don't remember what exactly they're doing in this place. If you do, please feel free to fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, she's like, if we destroy this tower,
Okay, let me...
she's like, we can win the war against the Sith. And the guy's like, nah, don't do that. Time jump.
So
you go ahead.
Let me try. So in this, they're like in between two giant statues.
Yep.
There's this hole, and it goes down, and when it rains, these stones at the bottom can give premonitions of the future. And so these kids walk out to the stones, and they find a stone, and they look at it, and the rain falls on the stone, and it shows them the future.
Yes.
And so one of the kids picks up a rock, and the old guy watching over everything is like, what do you see? And she's like, I see two figures and a third thing, and I don't know what it is.
Right.
And he's like, you're stupid. Should have been
Stupid
smarter.
and you suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that rock
And then
down.
basically that's about it for her. She's like, we should destroy the Dark Force statue because I kind of get the vibe that if we destroyed it, maybe the dark side would lose some power or something, and we could vibe out. And
Maybe.
so she goes to the Jedi temple.
Time jump back.
To
When she's
find-
older.
Yeah. So she's older now. She goes to the Jedi temple and she's like, hey guys, I got this idea. It's crazy. Can I get a Jedi to come help me with this?
There's this big tower.
And
It
they're
glows
like-
red. I'm just thinking, what if we
me
shove
just-
a lightsaber in there?
Yeah, let me just cut its head off. And they're like, sure, dude.
Go ahead and
Like,
go crazy. Go crazy. I don't know.
This is on your home planet. It's been there for generations and generations. Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. We'll let you have this kid. So they get like a Jedi Knight who lost their master, and he's kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of Kylo Ren-ish, if you will. He's kind of got dark side undertones.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to the planet, and on their way, they stop at a bar or something.
Yeah.
But not a bar. Where do they go? They go to like a store to get gear. And while they're getting gear, we learn about this Jedi's past and how his master was killed by the Sith Lord, and how he was really mad and was like, I'm going to kill you. I hate you.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, he has some evil in him.
Mm-hmm.
And you think maybe he's going to turn to the dark side. And the Sith Lord that killed his master is like, you got a lot of anger in you. Maybe you should turn to the dark side.
Probably.
And he's like,
Never join you.
but at the same time, he's also like, I hate you. So not very Jedi, not very Sith.
Anger
We'll
leads
figure
to
it out.
hate,
Yeah.
as we know.
Hey.
That's a reference to a thing. And I knew it.
Nice one.
Continue.
And so they go to the planet to cut off the head of the dark one, the dark head.
Yep, the dark one.
And and they go there, and then the Sith shows up too, and he's like, hey guys, I'm here. The Force led me to you. You are my apprentice. Become evil with me.
Yeah.
And he's like,
No, I hate you. I'm gonna kill you.
and the Sith Lord's like, yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm looking for, actually.
Good stuff, yeah.
So they fly up to the head, and they have a duel, and then there's like a moment
Uh-huh.
where the girl is like, whoa, this is the future I saw. And the little thing I couldn't see at the beginning was me. And then your mind is exploding, and you're like, wow, what a moment. And she turns the tide of the fight, and the Sith Lord dies. And they decide not to cut off the head of the dark head.
Yeah.
And then they're like, whatever we were going to do wasn't going to work.
Because
We didn't actually end up trying.
the Jedi Knight guy is like, these things will always coexist or whatever, and there's a balance. So if we try to cut off one head, two more shall take its place. That was very Russian and not German.
Yes, very Russian.
But it was giving me that kind of vibe. But
I hear you.
They're like, you gotta leave it because it's, I don't know, man. It's a circle and it's balanced and it's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. We'll just kill them. We'll kill them when they come attack us.
Yeah, we'll just kill them.
It'll be fine.
So they walk off together, and I'm like, dang it, can I get another episode of these two together, please?
Nope.
And can there be like a romance or something? Because I'm kind of seeing it right now.
It's over.
And no, it's over. So that's a bummer for me.
Never see that again.
Probably my favorite episode. The last one I actually really liked as well. So
I saw that. Yeah. The next one is called The Spy Dancer. Very French.
Very French.
From France.
Studio La Cachée.
This was the one I was least looking forward to, honestly, because I just saw the thumbnail and I was like, that looks okay, like whatever, ribbon dancing or whatever. It ended up being really good, I thought.
I liked it, yeah.
It kind of starts with these stormtroopers just being like, all right, guys, let's go to this thing. We're going to a concert. Let's go. Heck yeah. This place is so fancy. Oh, wow. And they're going to this ceremony, a Cirque du Soleil type of thing, you know, where there's, you know,
it's a reference to reality.
Ribbon dancing and what that thing where they're on a big rope and they like sit in between it and they go, they do flips and stuff, that sort of thing.
Like a trapeze?
A trapeze. And then, what's that called?
No, not a trapeze.
What's that called?
Just a high wire.
They do with two flowy cloths and they like spin down in between it. You know what I mean?
Greatest Showman.
Yep. The thing that Zendaya does that. Yes. Yeah. We're on the same page. Okay. We don't know the name of it. We know it's the thing that Zendaya does in The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
What if we rewrite the stars? Anyway,
I was trying to think of the song, and all I could think of was "You can say it all sounds crazy."
Yeah,
That's not right.
what a terrible film. Anyway,
Historically, so inaccurate.
I hate that
P.T.
movie
Barnum was a
so
terrible,
much.
terrible person.
Part of it is, you know what? I'm not going to get into that tangent. We can revisit that when you watch La La Land because I have things to say.
Nope.
And it'll never happen, so we're not even going to.
It'll never happen.
So
Isn't it the same guys too? Like, how do they do that?
it is not the same guys.
Oh well.
Maybe it is actually. Maybe they wrote the lyrics.
I think I've heard
the
that
lyric
it is.
writers. Yes,
Yeah.
not the composer, but
Okay.
the lyricists. Anyway,
The words.
stormtroopers and high class
They go to a
Empire people are going to the show, and the performers are very fresh, and they you kind of see they're getting ready for this performance, and they start the performance. They have a conversation before that happens. I don't remember what they talk about, but you see
They're like, I want to be more involved. And she's like, no, you're not ready.
yeah.
Continue.
The performance is happening, and you see while the main performer is dancing with her ribbons, she's like placing trackers. I think at first I thought they were explosive devices, but they're trackers, I believe.
Yes, trackers.
On these Imperial people.
Trackers tracking.
While she's performing, doing her thing, she gets a glimpse of there's a K2. Is that the colloquial to bring that word back?
Call back.
Name for those tall
Big security buff
bipedal
droid.
robots. Anyway, just all the terms I have. I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
I went to college for a semester.
Thesaurus over there.
Anyway,
Don't call me a thesaurus. What's that from?
Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah,
Volume 1. That's not part of the title. This is taking forever. We really got to go. She sees this guy. He's with a K2 droid, and she has a flashback to when the Empire came to her planet, and this Imperial officer that's dressed in the Orson Krennic garb,
Yeah.
steals her son. She has a flashback to that, and that's why she hates the Empire or whatever. So this guy's here, and she freaks out about it, and she has to cancel the performance. It gets everybody out. And then she has an altercation with this guy, and she realizes that it's not the guy that stole her son. It is her son. And they fight for a bit, and she's like, my son was stolen by the man who... this is very French.
More French. The man was stolen. You are my son.
Wearing these clothes. Where did you get these clothes and that cane? You would be about my son's age and whatever. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm evil. And then, and then she hugs.
Empire is good.
She hugs him, and he's like, "Oh, I probably am her son, actually. Dang, man."
Yeah.
And then she put a tracker on him, and then the episode's over. So that was a bummer that the ending of it was a little bit unresolved, but I thought the episode conceptually was cool. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
See, conceptually, it was cool.
Yeah. All right.
And French.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
And French. Very, very, very French.
Yeah. The Bandits
okay.
of Golak.
Yes.
It sounds like a movie from the 90s or something. Like a sci-fi flick.
This one was done by 88 Pictures
Mm-hmm.
in India. I was a little confused at first because I thought this is just the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Is this not?
Dave
Are they
Filoni,
animated?
are you here?
Yeah.
Are you in the room
Are
with
they
me right
animated
now?
by the same people?
Yep.
Is that what's going on here?
It looks identical.
Because
to
it
the Clone
literally
Wars.
is.
Yeah.
It is literally the Clone Wars. It
is
has
a-
to be the same.
Huge negative for me because I don't like the way that show looks as a whole. As a whole,
Which is
animation
crazy.
style. I know.
Which is crazy to me.
Hot take for
because
me.
I think that the Clone Wars look amazing.
I don't think it looks bad.
Maybe like season 3 on.
Yeah. And even like let's take it at its peak, the last season, the Mandalore arc with Ahsoka and Order 66, like it looks like the animation is amazing. I just don't like the style, if that makes sense.
see.
I don't vibe with it. It's not my vibe. It's not my vibe.
Okay. I hear you in the vibe.
So there you go. Yes.
Okay. So the bandits are two siblings who are on a train, and but it's not Inception. Sorry. I just like triggered.
You're on a train.
Oh, that's crazy.
You don't know where the train will take you.
Yeah, it's deep within your mind,
Right.
like in the movie.
Yeah. Whoa.
Wild.
How does Christopher Nolan do it?
Did we have an Inception of our own? Was the Inception in our minds the whole time?
Is this limbo? Are we in limbo right now?
I
We're just, like,
actually,
stuck.
speaking of Chris Nolan, I have some people interested in the Oppenheimer Barbie double feature, so I'm pretty hyped
Wow.
about that.
I'll be flying out.
I would love that. I would love that. That would be a great
awesome.
surprise.
I need to get tickets probably.
You do?
Are they available? Can I get tickets
See
already
our puppy, yeah.
for the double feature?
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's these two siblings, and the younger sibling has the Force.
Which happens a lot in this season of
Yes.
episodes.
Kids got the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Maxie bid the Force. What's that from?
I don't know. I mean, I liked it.
Oh, that's a Jar Jar Binks line in Phantom Menace.
Oh, cool.
Dang
it. Ah, stupid.
You fool!
I should have had that.
Idiot!
Dang it.
So they are running from the Empire because everybody they've ever known has been killed. And they get caught because the kid wants to play with a flute.
Yep.
No, what
Who knows?
happens?
She
I
uses
guess,
the Force
right?
to grab it, and those guys were like,
Yeah, and all the people immediately sell him out because they're like, you got a lot of credits for selling out a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just a child, which is sad. And then they make it to this place, a hotel.
Yep.
It looks like, and they meet someone else.
Yep.
And then a Sith Inquisitor of sorts shows up
Yep.
with the fancy circular double-bladed lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a great mustache.
He really does. Watch it for the mustache,
And-
honestly, man.
Yeah. And he's like, I heard that a kid with the Force is here,
Mhm.
and I'm here to kill him. And then they're like, no. And then the old lady they meet at the hotel is like, I'm a Jedi.
Yeah.
And my cane turns into two lightsabers. She had to one-up the old Jedi from Clone Wars who hid a lightsaber in his cane. She hid two lightsabers in her
Big
cane.
controversy on Twitter about that.
Really, the double lightsaber
Star
cane?
Wars fans derogatory were like, where is the blade even stored? I mean, if you look at that cane, like, where does it even go? How is it possible that she splits her cane in half and there are two equal bladed lightsabers? What is it even canon? It was huge.
I'm pretty sure none of the Star Wars Visions episodes are canon.
No, yeah.
Even the ones that feature Star Wars characters.
Star Wars fans
beyond that,
derogatory
though,
don't like Visions because
seriously,
it doesn't adhere to canon.
That isn't crazy because it's not canon. But they'll read every single book that came out before the sequels and be like, they didn't portray Luke correctly.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's so
It's just
true.
like- it's actually insane. Their minds don't make sense. Their brains don't work.
Broken.
So
You open it
she
up,
pulls
it's just
out-
ramen in there. That's all ramen. Yeah.
It's ramen. Unbelievable. Not even like any like chicken bouillon.
No.
In there
It's
to
just
make
the
it
top ramen, a cup of noodle in there, man.
good. Wow.
Anyway, that was brutal.
I hope your dehydrated peas don't rehydrate
Yeah.
and they're just cold.
What happens at the end? I don't even remember. I
So
kind of stopped
she-
watching
So
this one.
she
also.
kills the Sith Inquisitor with her double-bladed cane,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Hey, we got a bit of a sanctuary here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me open up the pool, and you can go down there. There's some more Force-sensitive youngins down there, but you have to abandon your brother for life.
Yep.
To go down this hole." And she's like, "Okay."
All right. Let's do
And the
it.
brother's like, "This is the only way. This is the only way.
I always knew you were special.
There are no planets in the galaxy where we can hide."
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So she goes down there to become a Jedi, I guess. And he just plays a flute and walks away to be alone for the rest of his life, having abandoned his sister.
Yeah.
In this place with a person he met 45 minutes ago.
Didn't like it.
So, I just not every Force-sensitive person has to become a Jedi and abandon their entire life. It kind of...
The fact that it happens multiple times in these episodes, it's just like, okay.
Yeah. And it's going to happen another time.
Right, exactly.
It's already happened twice.
Exactly, yeah.
It's going to happen a third time.
Episode 8, The Pit. I enjoyed, honestly. So Josh was given a stink face. I'll recap this one. I thought it was good.
You got it.
I'm pretty sure that was David Diggs as a voice actor of the boy. People know from as Lafayette in Hamilton the Musical.
Lafayette!
Yeah, that guy. Or Thomas Jefferson. Also. And also Sebastian the Crab in the new Little Mermaid. Everybody, let's go. Round of applause. The best movie ever made. Anyway, The Pit is about... the Empire has come to a planet, like in all of these episodes. And which is honestly, I kind of like that about it. Which is that I'll get to that, my overall thought. But the Empire has come to this planet and they're enslaving people to mine kyber crystals. I believe is
Kyber.
They're mining kyber crystals, and this group of people that are enslaved are digging a hole to find kyber crystals, and they dig a hole for so long that they can't dig anymore. I'm not sure what
they reach the crust.
The crust. The
okay.
pit.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Here, just from a logistics standpoint, they're all using pickaxes, except for this one guy who has spray paint that we never get to see.
Yep.
And where's the dirt going? Because there's no dirt at the top of the hill. And I'm really sorry.
It's animated.
We're going for it.
It's animated.
They don't age. There is no way in the universe that this group of 50
Star
people
Wars.
could dig a hole 300 meters deep.
Yeah.
And it's that would take, with pickaxes, again, I remind you, pickaxes only. Yep. No one dies. No one gets older. They did it in a
Somebody
month.
dies later.
All the way to the crust.
See, this is where we differ, is because I literally I didn't think about any of that. And I would never.
Also, and I'll get to it again later.
So
in a second here, when you continue to explain,
I was taken by the vibes and the themes. Anyway, they dig all the way to the crust, and the Empire's like, sick. We got all the kyber out of this planet, which apparently is only in this hole, and nowhere else on the planet. Anyway, we got it all.
Well, the stormtrooper captain had a medical detector.
Medical.
A metal detector.
Medical detector. I'm detecting some medical. Anyway, they get the Empire's like, we got to the bottom of this hole. We found all the kyber. Let's book it out of here. And so everybody's like, yay, buggy. Our handcuffs have fallen off and we're free. And then the Empire just leaves them in this hole and they're gone. And they're like, oh no. Let me
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Just this one's even quicker. Okay, so at the beginning, there's this time lapse, right?
Yes.
And they show them digging this hole.
Right.
Awesome. Looks cool. And the city building in the background.
Yes.
And you can see in the hole there are staircases and ramps.
Yes.
So that people can come in and out of the hole with the kyber crystals.
Yes.
But then at some point, they decide, screw that.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
We're just going to dig straight down Minecraft style.
Yes.
And not plan our own escape. And then the Empire's just like, see you guys later. You dug your own grave, idiots.
Dang.
And not a single person thought to themselves, hey, wait a second.
How are we going to get out of here?
How are we going to get out of here? You know? So, okay, I'm done. Okay, go on.
So, they're hopeless. And David Diggs is like, but what if hope? Because Star Wars. Nice. Look for the light. And so he starts climbing out of the hole. There's a little hedgehog that helps him get out of the hole.
Yep. Were you chanting, Eve, Rasa,
Yes.
Rasa, Eve.
It is very reminiscent from The Dark Knight Rises when
Yes.
Bruce Wayne is climbing out of a hole. Anyway, David Diggs gets out of there. He goes to the town. He's like, hey, somebody listen to me. There's a bunch of people in a hole, and we gotta save them. And they're all like, screw you, man. I don't freaking care. I'm going to work. I don't freaking care about your plight.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
I want to live in this one city in this giant desert all alone.
And the stormtroopers are like, hey, get that guy. He's from the hole that we left him in. And so they take him back to the hole and they throw him in and he freaking dies.
Yeah, he literally hits the ground and dies.
He face plants and dies. And his sister is like, wow, that's sad. And then and she's like, he always told me to look for the light. Look for the light. And then they all start chanting, look for the light. And the people hear them. And
we are here. We are here. We are here.
And then they come to see them. And they all get there and they look down in the hole and then they all leave. And the people are like, oh, no.
Oh, they saw us and would have left.
And then spaceships come down from somewhere somehow. I don't know. They just happened to come down there. So they had a change of heart.
It's just a city. There's got to be spaceships.
So they all looked down in the hole. They were like, oh, we'll go get the spaceships, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they get out. And that was the end of it, I think. Oh, no, the sister has a kyber crystal, and she uses the Force to pick it up, and it
Purify
turns
it?
blue. So, or purple. I don't know. I'm colorblind. It could be either. I don't know.
It's blue.
It could be
Yeah, you're
freaking,
good.
it could be freaking brown for all I know. No, that's not true.
First guess. You got it right. It was blue.
I really
Just like that
liked
lightsaber
the
behind
themes of it. I thought it was a great, just symbolic thing of how the Empire shows up at a planet, enslaves the civilization to mine resources, and then is like, okay, bye, fend for yourself. And that's all I'll say about it. So there you go. I liked it.
Yeah.
Get to the one that you liked.
I just thought that it was like, I don't know. I thought the animation wasn't that great, personally.
Yeah, it was fine.
And I thought the people who were digging the hole were stupid.
Yeah,
How could you not
I didn't
plan-
care about that.
Like, at no point at all did they think, like, maybe we should
Okay,
think
yeah,
about
maybe.
how to get out of here.
I gotta go walk my dog. Let's go.
Okay. So
The
we get
sun
to
is
Alu's
setting over
song.
here. It is almost 7:30 here.
Wow. I have blinders. I can't see the sun.
Blinders, blast doors.
Close the blast doors.
You liked this one,
so
so you go ahead.
This last episode was like feltmation. It wasn't claymation. It was feltmation, and it was gorgeous.
I loved the way it looked.
Okay.
Yeah, vibes are off the
This
charts
one-
here, man.
Unbelievable. Like, I don't know how to, like, other than there's like an energy to this type of world building esque. Like, I literally cannot describe to you how this sort of aesthetic makes me feel.
Yeah.
Like something in the way. No. Something about this type of, like, this is an interesting society, and the buildings are cool, and they're built into the rock, and
They're cute, like cat people.
Yeah, there's so many little bits and bobs and pieces that immediately make me feel interested in the world and the shape of things and how it all works and the history and who are these people and why do they do what they do, and it takes, the episode's 15 minutes, and I want to know everything about every single character in the entire thing, and I want to write a story about it myself, and I'm like, just give me 100 million copies of this, and the story is whatever, but
the thing I liked about this episode is that, like, it expands the, like, you see the Force being used in a way that you've never seen it before, which, like, she's using the Force through singing, which, like, was super cool, a super cool concept. She was, like, purifying kyber crystals by, like, singing to them, which I thought was dope.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Instead of just like the other ones where a kid puts their hand out and forces a kyber crystal towards them, which is fine too. But, like, it's cool to see a new thing. I like new things.
Yeah.
It was like It reminded me of the scene in Ratatouille. Can we talk about Ratatouille?
Okay.
Where Remy takes a bite.
Oh.
He goes into like a trance and he takes a
eats
bite
a strawberry
of
and
a
the cheese.
strawberry and then he takes a bite of some cheese and there's like fireworks and stuff.
Okay, nuttiness. Do you detect that?
And then in this episode, she like kind of goes into a trance where she's singing to things, and it looks like that to me.
Yeah, I see that now that you say that. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was literally like a Pixar movie where the
It was.
dad like knows about this issue and he's embarrassed about it and he doesn't want her to sing because when she sings, bad things happen.
He's just worried about her
and-
and like he doesn't want her
Yeah.
to get hurt.
But all she wants to do is sing.
All she wants to do
Dad.
is sing, use her voice. She's trying to find her voice. Ugh,
It's
Wow.
like Frozen.
I want to turn into a
Right?
red panda.
Yeah. So I just thought it was like it's a heartwarming little story, and then of course, there's like a master Jedi who's buying the crystals,
Yeah.
the Kyber crystals from them, and at the end they're like, "Wow, you probably have the Force with your voice.
Let's get outta
take you
here.
away.
Let's
take
bounce."
you away from your family." And she's like, "You're right.
You're so right.
I'm going to be the first of my species to leave this planet."
Yeah.
That's what the dad said anyway.
Yeah.
So another child.
Maybe you should stay
abandons
on
her
your beautiful
family
planet. That's all I'm
knowingly.
saying. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just at this point I knew it was over, and I was like, can't we just get an episode 2 of any of these?
Yeah.
So then I went
I don't
back
know.
and watched a couple episodes from season 1 and got myself even more angry
Yeah.
because Village Bride doesn't have an episode 2, The Twins doesn't have an episode 2, The Ninth Jedi
Ninth
doesn't have an
Jedi is
episode
really
2.
good, yeah.
Lop and Oko, my favorite still of all 18 episodes, doesn't have an episode. Have a second episode. Lop and Oko could be. It could be the best
Yeah,
of them all.
it could be.
I just like wow. You know what I mean?
Here's my overall
So-
thought about
Okay,
this season.
give me an overall.
I like this season because Star Wars is a thing that is all around the globe. It's the biggest franchise of all time.
Yes.
And I really like the fact that for some reason Disney is letting people from around the world make Star Wars for some reason. Even if it's 15 minutes of Star Wars from India, I'm like, that is awesome. I didn't even like that one that much, but like, it's freaking awesome that they got to do that. And even just like thematically, I really enjoyed this season, even though it was a bit repetitive, but like, I liked the theme of each of these different civilizations that mirror our own world. Like the Empire thrives in all of them. Like evil and darkness in the Empire thrives in all things. But at the same time, each civilization, each place here where these things, bad things exist, there is equal capacity for hope and whatever. This is Star Wars, you know. Hope exists in the dark. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah. Just to add to your point.
Yes.
Even. It reminds me of your favorite Star Wars TV show,
Oh.
Andor.
Does it? Yes.
In which a certain character writes a manifesto about hope and the power of the Empire, and how all across the galaxy these small fights are taking place, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Right. There it is.
That's
great. Powerful stuff. I was reminded of that manifesto multiple times
Yeah.
throughout this season because I was like, yeah,
And it's
you're right.
and that's what I love about like the good Star Wars, especially now, is like it's more than just the freaking Mandalorian season 3. You know, there's so much potential for just like really good themes and world building and like the stuff that we have already set up, the Skywalker saga and all of that stuff is all good. But and like even Andor is a prequel to a prequel to a prequel. It's just like a prequel to a prequel of a sequel. I don't know.
Yes, there
we
you
go.
That's crazy, actually. Now that you say that,
Like, you can-
that's wild.
You can do things. You can do good things everywhere in this universe. We appreciate when things are it's taken seriously. Like it's taken seriously, not too seriously because it's still Star Wars, but like
Yeah.
we're not just here for Jack Black and Lizzo. You know what I mean, guys?
Come on, man. Jack Black
It's whatever.
gets to be in Star Wars.
And we love
Yeah,
Star
so-
Wars.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Oh, wait, that's not Star
wrap it
Wars.
up because I gotta
This
walk
one.
the dog.
That one. Yeah. You got the outro. Actually.
I got it. Let's do it. We love Star Wars. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Next week, I don't know, but we'll see you then.
We'll do something.
Thank you as always for liking and commenting and sharing and listening. We will catch you guys on the flippity flip.
Flip.